Is Drew McIntyre injured? The Usos are number one, and Joe Rogan thinks The Rock is on steroids? All that and more on today's episode of the Casual Wrestling Daily Podcast. What is up, people? It is Tuesday, December 6th. Pretty straightforward show we got for you today. Raw was a little bit of a mess. We'll break that down. Not too much going on in the news, but before we get to any of that, don't forget that we are on patreon.com/The Casual Wrestling Show. Just hit the follow button. It is 100% free to follow. And if you want to be part of the Casual Wrestling Channel's bloodline, you can become a patron for just $5 a month, like our Patreon producers. It's Zenny, LGRSM, Reedus JC, and Ian Newberry. Thank you guys. We appreciate the love. We got like 21 likes on the episode yesterday, so we did way better than we did. We didn't reach the goal of 25, so I'm putting it out there again today. I want 25 likes on this video. We are consistently hitting 150 views. I know there's 25 of you, and I appreciate the few that are constantly hitting the like button, but the other 125, you guys just tap that like button for me so we can get these videos up into the algorithm and get them flowing and build this channel up, and we can do it. All right, so let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Let's talk. It was a little bit of a mess for me. It was a hard watch for the first time in a long time. I've been critical of Monday Night Raw, but for the first time in a long time, it felt like a hard watch for me. And we started off strong, actually. The show opened up with the Usos and Riddle and the backstage segment where Riddle rode his scooter through the middle of the Usos. Then Solo went around the back of the truck and attacked Elias. And so the show did start off strong. That whole opening segment was fun. I don't know what the deal is with Elias. I don't know why we didn't get the Riddle and Elias pairing that we were promised, and instead we got Kevin Owens and Riddle taking on the Usos for the WWE Tag Team Championships. That's messy booking, guys. That's messy booking. Like, let's be honest, let's be real. We got to be objective once again when we talk about Triple H, but this is messy booking. You now have characters who have histories of not liking each other and not being friendly with each other, being paired together and forced to work together just because we're trying to push along narratives. It doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. You want me to believe that how does Elias feel? How does Elias feel about his buddy Riddle teaming up with the person who actually ended his brother Zeke's career? Like, there's no continuity in that storyline. It doesn't make sense. I get that Kevin Owens has a problem with the Usos, and I get that Riddle has a problem with the Usos, but there's other directions you could have gone instead of throwing Kevin Owens into this match and just affording Kevin Owens a loss in this match for no reason other than it just kind of makes sense, right? They all have problems with each other. Throw Kevin in there. It'll get a pop. We can start the show with a lot of energy. I didn't love it. I don't love the booking. I don't love the logic of the booking by Triple H. It's starting to feel like Triple H may not have a clear plan going forward. He knows destinations, but he doesn't know how he's going to get to those destinations. Even the match felt messy. At the end of the match, when the Usos hit the 1D on Riddle, where was Kevin Owens? They paid no attention to where Kevin Owens was. I don't think he was taken out. He was just outside the ring. He made no attempt to make the save. And then after the match, he chases the Usos and Sami Zayn off with a chair, which leaves Solo Sikoa and Riddle in the ring to do a little Umaga homage, which I thought was good. I liked the Samoan Spike. I thought that was good. But once again, this just leads me into yesterday's episode where we talked about finishing moves. There it is. That's Solo's finishing move. There's a lot of personality in the Samoan spike. It fits him. He was all taped up, ready to go, hits the Samoan spike, looks up to the sky to pay his homage. But the show started with energy. I have no problem other than some messy booking, but at least like there was energy. The crowd seemed behind that part of the show. And then from there on out, Monday Night Raw just crashed. There was no crowd interaction. There was no love from the crowd. The women ruled the night, right? That's what this was. This night, the Monday night was about the women. We got 2 big-time triple threat matches that are leading to a payoff match next week to see who the number 1 contender is to, I assume, fight Bianca Belair at the Royal Rumble. So we got 2 of these triple threat matches. I'm going to talk about both of them right now. Solid matches, good match. I have nothing wrong with them, but the crowd had zero investment in it because once again, these were just people thrown together. There was no lead up to this. We had no expectation of this. It was just, hey, it's Monday. We're going to do a thing. And they did a thing. And it looks like Rhea Ripley's back involved in the women's division, which means what is the Judgment Day at this point? What are they really doing? Are they really now going to have a problem with the Street Profits? Is that where we're going with them? Like, I don't understand. This booking is messy, Triple H. This booking is messy. It's good to see Rhea Ripley back in the women's division, but what is the Judgment Day? What do they matter at this point? The OC has seemingly moved on, and they're involved with Baron Corbin. So what is there for the Judgment Day to do? Why are they a group? Why are we keeping all these guys together? Why is Rhea Ripley still a part of this? None of that makes sense to me right now. Bayley won one of those triple threat matches, which means Bayley for the foreseeable future is still in at least the conversation for Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair has to worry about her a little bit. And then Alexa Bliss won the other one, which I liked. That was a little bit of parody. I thought that Becky Lynch was going to win that match. It was fun to see Alexa Bliss win that match. We got more teases for Alexa Bliss and the Wyatt involvement. We saw the little screen flicker again in the back, but this time Alexa teased us with Sister Abigail, and it kind of had a strange look in her eyes. And it looks like, if I have to read into this, I don't think Bray Wyatt's coming for Alexa Bliss. I think there still may be a connection between Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss, and I'm all for it because it gives Alexa something to do. I think the fans will invest in it, especially with as long as Bray Wyatt is taken to get to where we're going. I'm all about that. But next week, we get Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, and it'll be interesting to see how that match plays out. It'll be interesting to see. Are we going to get Bayley versus Bianca again? Are we just gonna keep repeating these matches because we're getting Ricochet versus Gunther again? Are we gonna get Bayley versus Bianca Belair again? Or are we gonna get some fresh blood here with Alexa Bliss, possibly leading into some, maybe more storyline with Bray Wyatt? My money is on Alexa Bliss in this one. I want Alexa Bliss to win this match. I feel like from a booking standpoint, we can't just keep doing the same things over and over, but I also don't know what that does to Bayley. I think with the women's division right now, they're all the stories are so intertwined into like one segment that it's weird that we got to start pulling these threads apart and let Bayley and Becky Lynch go do something. Let Bianca and Alexa go do something. Since War Games, a couple weeks before War Games, we got the combination of Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, then we had Damage Control, and all the women kind of came together, and now it feels like Triple H is having a hard time kind of unraveling those strings, and so we're seeing all the women in the match all at once, all the time. I think it's time to start pulling that apart and let them get some storylines going, because right now everybody's kind of, reliant on everybody else, and it makes for messy booking. But the women ruled the night. That was your main event once again, and it didn't feel, to me, it didn't sell as a main event. I think that the show, this is now 2 shows in a row, SmackDown and Raw, I think that the shows were flipped backwards. And maybe there's a meaning behind that, right? Maybe Triple H wants to start these shows strong and he's okay finishing slow. But as far as like my mentality goes, is I always want that big finale. I want the climax at the end, and it doesn't feel like with SmackDown or Raw that we've gotten that for the past 2 weeks. We got Mustafa versus Theory again, just in a different form and fashion. Mustafa, just popping up on Theory and telling him, I want a match. And here it is. You're handed, Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley, two guys worthy of that match, have to go fight each other to get a United States title match. But Mustafa Ali can just show up and ask for it, and he gets that match. Once again, confusing booking. There's a theme. There's a theme weaved through Monday Night Raw, and it's illogical bad booking by Triple H. So we get the match. We get Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali goes out there. He takes the shorts off. He's got pants back on. Back to, I feel comfortable with that. He looks better like that. And we get the match. And then about the way through the match, Dolph Ziggler shows up out of nowhere, mind you, and attacks Austin Theory. So now, once again, we have not love triangles. We have these quadruplexes of confusing booking involved in almost every title at this point, right? There's now Bobby Lashley wants the United States title. Seth Rollins wants the United States title. Mustafa Ali wants the United States title. It appears that Dolph Ziggler wants to throw his name into that. Booking wrestling should be simple. Good guy, bad guy. Tell me the story. Tell me why it matters. Stop interweaving all these other threads in the through line where we have to decipher what's really going on. So Dolph Ziggler's involved now, but we know that Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins are having a number one contenders match. What happens to Mustafa Ali because he didn't get a fair match? There's just so much going on, and you're still not making me believe that the United States title is a world title. So all of this is happening and nothing is really getting done. It doesn't make sense. Will Mustafa Ali ever actually get a legitimate moment with WWE, or is he just the punching boy? Because it feels like he's just a punching boy. He's just someone they place in there to forward stories like the Alpha Academy or like Natalya over and over again. Who's next in line for the United States title? And is any of this really building up Austin Theory? Because I don't feel like Austin Theory, I don't feel like he's becoming more and more credible. I just feel like this is a repeat of what we saw around SummerSlam when Dolph Ziggler randomly showed up then. Except now Austin Theory has no personality. He's just grumpy. That's what his character is. They interview him and he's just kind of grumpy. He's arrogant like he used to be, except he doesn't have a cell phone and he's grumpy. Can we talk about that botched Hurricanrana with Mustafa Ali and Austin Theory? I thought that could have gone poorly. I thank God that both guys were okay after that, because that looked ugly from two guys who were supposed to be, high level talent. That looked like that could have been messy. We also got the OC versus Baron Corbin and Alpha Academy. Now, let me take a second to praise. I enjoyed the backstage poker stuff. I didn't know where all the poker stuff was going with JBL and Corbin, but I thought having a through line of an entire episode makes the episode a little more digestible. The poker stuff made it fun to come back from commercial and check on it. Felt like old Attitude Era Monday Night Raw in that sense. It's just that they didn't really do anything with it. And they just kind of threw these half-ass matches together. And they just threw the OC into the ring with Baron Corbin. Hey, the Alpha Academy's sitting next to you, so we'll give you them because they're enhancement talent for every match. And we got another match that, once again, I have no emotional investment in this match. And that's a problem as a casual fan. I'm not emotionally invested. If I go down the list of matches from tonight's show or last night's show, I'm not emotionally invested in anything. And this is what I told you guys about the 9 weeks in between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble. Triple H was going to have to keep us emotionally invested, and he's not doing that. He's just throwing matches together. The OC versus Baron Corbin and Alpha Academy was a decent wrestling match, but I had no investment, and the crowd wasn't invested either. You could tell. Once again, the Monday Night Raw crowd had zero investment in this show. Another match was Akira Tozawa and Dominic Mysterio. Zero crowd reaction. The crowd didn't care. Nobody was excited for that match, but there's no emotional connection. What? So we're supposed to believe that because Dominic Mysterio keeps reaching over and poorly, not even sneakily. I get what they were going for. They wanted him to have the lie, I lie, I steal, I cheat, like Eddie Guerrero kind of gimmick where he's cheating in poker, but instead he just comes off as a fucking goofball reaching over. He comes off like Dennis the Menace trying to steal chips from Akira Tozawa. And so we get a match, they get sent out to the ring, and zero crowd reaction. No build, no investment. And if you guys want to point to anything, Dominic Mysterio is not ready. That match was bullshit. It was not a good match. And I don't blame Akira Tozawa. That's Dominic's job. Dominic is the guy who has had television time for the last 6 months. He's been shoved down our throat. We've been told that he was a guy that WWE was focused on. I've been told by every little motherfucker on TikTok how to just be patient with Dominic Mysterio. And I got a match yesterday where it was Dominic's time to carry the match. This wasn't Edge. This wasn't some big superstar. This wasn't Rey Mysterio. This was Dominic in the ring with a lesser known talent, and he didn't perform. It didn't deliver. It wasn't what we thought it should be. And that's in Monday Night Raw as a whole. That's kind of what I feel like. It just didn't deliver. It didn't give me what I want to feel when I watch a Monday Night Raw. And I have a glaring comparison because I thought last week's Monday Night Raw actually was a solid show from start to end. They got the crowd involved more. And then we go to Washington, D.C., and what do we get? It's just, once again, a lack of crowd interaction. We don't get a Street Profits match. We just get them running out for a save. Even though they're your tag team that gets the crowd going. We didn't really get anything with The Miz and Dexter Lumis. Seemingly that's possibly done. We got some poker segments that happened in the back, which were great, but that type of stuff doesn't keep the live crowd entertained. That stuff is meant for the people at home watching on TV. And the wrestling that was in the ring last night on Monday Night Raw was just not exciting. There was no reason to be emotionally invested in anything that was happening on Monday Night Raw last night except the Bloodline. The Bloodline continued to be the only real story in WWE that there's an emotional investment into. Everything else is just thrown together at the last minute. And it's going to be glaringly obvious in the next couple of weeks if Triple H can't start building some stories that have emotional attachment to them, because right now we still have 8 weeks of nothing until Royal Rumble. And like I said, when you're building towards the Royal Rumble, it's even funny because in the Royal Rumble, there's not a lot of singles matches. So there's not a lot of time in this 8 weeks to start pairing people off and give them a reason to fight. What we're getting is this weird, like, number one contenders match spree. And we're getting a lot, if you notice a lot on Monday Night Raw, we're getting this next week, this is happening. Because right now, Monday Night Raw is kind of floundering around and it doesn't have an identity, and it's going to take Triple H really buckling down in the next couple of weeks and putting together some compelling storylines for people to actually pay attention and be interested in what's going on. All right, let's talk about some wrestling current events. Not a lot to talk about today, but we'll hit on, I think I got 3 stories to talk about here. Starting with Drew McIntyre is seemingly injured and won't be able to perform for the next couple of weeks on SmackDown. There goes my last push in fantasy wrestling. I had all my chips pushed in on hoping that the Viking Raiders and Drew McIntyre pulled off a rabbit out of the hat. With season 1 coming to an end on December 25th, I believe, I'm out of the runnings here. I'm still trying to get top 10, but I was gonna try and make a push for top 5. It looks like that's not gonna happen. But so Drew McIntyre's injured. He won't be available for the next couple of weeks on SmackDown. Undisclosed injury. I believe it was reported that he tried to sway WWE officials to let him perform, but they've shut him down through Christmas. And so on SmackDown this week, instead of we were going to get Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus the Usos for the tag team championships, we're going to get Butch and Sheamus for the tag team championship. So you can just assume that the Usos once again are going over, and that is the booking that pisses me off. When things like this happen, when you're able to just they're just able to replace people like this, it means we know the finish of that match. We know the Usos are winning again. Why are we, all these humoring matches don't make sense to me. We're going to have to figure out, and I know I'm I just keep rolling back into this, but we're going to have to figure out a way here to do some more interesting booking, Triple H, or you're going to lose. Trust me when I say this. You are going to start losing some casual fans who just, they can't get behind this illogical booking. In other news today, Dax Hardwood slammed the PWI top 100 of tag teams because the Usos are number one. So I don't know if Dax Hardwood is playing a character or if he's just blind. Because for him to come out and question this is literally insane. And this is the thing, I've been fighting this fight for a long time. I've been making this argument for a long time. The Usos are the best tag team in professional wrestling. There's no argument. There's no argument. And the FTR supporters, every time I say, guys, explain to me what I'm supposed to like about FTR, you guys just tell me, oh, look, they're old school and they get the good guys over and they're technically sound. That's all great, but that doesn't make you number one. That probably puts you in the top 5 at best, at worst top 10, but it doesn't make you number one. The Usos are workhorses, man. They work Monday Night Raw. They work Friday Night SmackDown. They were involved in the most emotional investment, or the most emotional investing storyline in WWE right now. The Usos are the heart and soul, along with Sami Zayn. So I don't know what Dax Hardwood is talking about here. Is he blind? Can he not see this? The Usos are the top tag team on the top show in professional wrestling, Friday Night SmackDown. That's not a question, right? It doesn't matter if you're a part of 100 different indie organizations and you carry 10 belts from 10 different companies. That's not a flex if it's not WWE. Sorry. And it's really not a flex if you're not even holding the AEW tag team championships, right? The only other team I think you could make an argument for would be the Acclaimed. It's not FTR. If I'm listing tag teams right now, the top 3 tag teams, I will make the arguments Usos, the Acclaimed, New Day, and then possibly FTR. Now, I know New Day hasn't done anything in a while, but the New Day have enough clout built up that I still think they're one of the best tag teams in the world. And every time they're on TV, people pay attention. They get crowd reaction. The crowd likes the New Day. So I don't know, and I haven't looked at the complete list. I don't know what the other teams are. I just know that the Usos are number one. I'll probably look at the list after the show and check it out and see, where my list lines up against their list. I don't usually agree with the PWI 100 anyway. But this is a no-brainer. Who did they really think they were trumping the Usos for the top tag team this year? That's people are in denial if they believe that the Usos are not the best tag team in professional wrestling. I'm sorry. You can't tell me anybody who's had a bigger impact on pro wrestling and emotional storytelling in WWE or AEW. And I said the Acclaimed are close. I'm not going to shit on the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed are fun. And maybe next year it's the Acclaimed year, but this year was the Usos year. And I'm not really going to argue that anymore. And the last story of the day, I told you small news story day here, was Joe Rogan calls out The Rock for taking performance-enhancing drugs. This is interesting here because the Liver King just got caught. The Liver King just got called out and had to make a public apology, came out, said he's on steroids, said he's not all natural after claiming he was all natural for so long. So then Joe Rogan came out and goes, all right, it's The Rock's turn. That in light of all this Liver King stuff, The Rock should come out and admit that he's done steroids. Because Joe Rogan says, look at what The Rock looks like at 50 years old versus what The Rock looked like at 30 years old. And he goes, and that's a man who's on steroids. That's a dangerous accusation, but I think that if there's anybody who kind of knows the telltale signs to look for, it's probably Joe Rogan. He's around he's in that world of fighting and in that world of guys who are physically fit. And I think he's probably seen his fair share of guys who have gone from, looking like The Rock did in his 20s and 30s to looking like he does in his 50s, looking like a superhero. I think the bigger question that I would ask is it really that big of a deal? Like, is it that big of a deal that The Rock does steroids? He's a superhero. He's an actor. It's what he does. Like, his body is what he gets paid for. And he knows, I'm sure if The Rock, I don't know if The Rock does steroids, but I'm sure that most people in a professional capacity who do steroids, I'm not talking about your local guy at your gym who's buying them from some other guy out of a duffel bag, but I'm talking about celebrities who do steroids. I imagine they know the implications and ramifications from doing said steroids. They've weighed the pros and cons and they go, the millions of dollars I will make from looking like the Hulk is worth the little bit of health issues I may get from doing these steroids. So I don't know. To me, I get where Joe Rogan's coming from. I do think that actors and fighters should be transparent. I think they should come out and say, hey, look, I'm doing this. I'm on steroids. This is something I'm doing. But I don't know that it should be shunned or frowned upon. Let people do what they want. Like, you know what you want to put and don't put in your body, and that's what it is. But, Joe Rogan calling The Rock out is interesting, especially coming into WrestleMania 39. Does WWE really want that kind of publicity if this story picks up legs? Because the Liver King story has picked up a little bit of legs. Like, there's a little bit of a push behind it. A lot of people are pissed off about that. And if it does, Joe Rogan kind of has that celebrity power to, if he points a spotlight at you, sometimes people pay attention. And if this story picks up some traction and people actually start to kind of investigate The Rock and steroids, does WWE going into WrestleMania 39, do they want that story in the public when I believe that WWE has been a pretty anti-steroid company for a long time? That's all I got for you guys today. Short show. We'll have probably more to talk about tomorrow, as there's no wrestling tonight to really talk about. I'm not going to recap NXT for you guys. If you like NXT, you can watch NXT on your own. But I will be back tomorrow, same place, same time. Make sure to like this video. Like I said, we got 21 likes yesterday. Let's go for 25 today. Let's continue to build that average up. Getting 150 views a day on a daily show is amazing. I'm so thankful for that. But just take the 2 seconds that it takes to hit the like button for me. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Hey, casual wrestling community show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Don't for show that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg lock, power driver or clothesline. We bringing that heat like for show, but you